Hello boys. It is me, Big Man. Well, this video is going to be a bit of a showcase on one of my trophy characters. Now, what I like to call my trophy characters is my non-ladder characters, really. So, I'm a bit of a seasoned ladder Andy. So, at the end of season, I don't play non-ladder. I collect all my stuff. And I kind of min-max several characters, specific characters and builds that are my favorite. And I keep the best gear that I've achieved throughout the entire season, that you boys yourself has helped me collect. So a lot of these are hard grind trades, they're fines, they're lots of donations from you guys, and just my best built characters of my favorite builds on this channel. So I'm going to pepper some of these out to release over the next coming weeks and maybe a few months or so. But I want to start with my Throw Sorceress. Now, if you boys have been following for a while, this has been through a few different iterations of design. So I started with more of a Twitch throw, which I still like, with the block chance as well, but I've opted to min-max for more damage. And this is what I've kind of got to with my gear. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time showcasing the gear and rambling about that, because I really enjoy doing that. But if you want, you boys can skip to near the end and we'll get some showcasing done, and I'll kind of want to hop into Chaos, and I might even do Wieldstone Key. Because this is non-ladder, I can't change the player count. It is set, okay, at players 1. So this is my Throw Sorceress. So we've got Dual Dreams tacked on, and we're applying that, we're amping up that elemental damage to our throw damage on War Strikes, okay? So that is extremely high. So, you know, several patches ago, after they made the game easier to play for, like, underage Koreans or whatever the fuck, this is now working fully. So that 53,000 damage is now added to throw, okay, as well as ranged. But before, elemental damage only applied like a third or something towards throw and range. So this has slowly improved over time, right? Level 93, Billy Throw. That's what I've got. Pretty high. I'm pretty impressed in this one. Like, I don't usually level my characters further than 93, because that's the easy spot to be able to gamble, you know, amulets, and then you can craft those and still get +2. So that's kind of what I aim for. I don't really care for going higher. It just ends up being a bit of a slog, unless I'm enjoying the farming to a severe degree. So my strength is minimum at 65. We need that at a minimum so we can get to things like War Strikes at 35. What else have we got? 75 for Tower Shield, that's important. Other bits of gear like that, okay? Dexterity is a bit higher. Now we need that for our War Strikes at 132. Ideally, it would be min-maxing to get an Ethereal War Strikes is what I have, because it lowers the requirements by 10%, and you're fine. It still replenishes quantity over time, you deal more physical damage, so with things like Death Set and anything that you have leech, more physical damage means you leech more, so it's technically better, right? So might as well go for that. Now, Vitality, I enjoy having a bit more excess. Some of you boys might prefer having more energy, that's fine. This seemed good and comfortable at around 100, with energy being everything else left, you know? So my resistances are fucking whatever. I could do with more lightning, but poison res is maxed out because that circumnavigates your energy shield, and that is everything that I need, okay? Now, if we go down and look at my cast rate, it's a little bit questionable. Now, let me explain. If you've seen my Throw Sorceress before, it is very strict in what we need in terms of increased attack speed and other bits of gear, okay? So, with faster cast rate, we're kind of locked into meeting that 37 breakpoint with what I have here. Now, a lot of people have been saying, Billy, just cast on Switch, and I'm like, motherfucker, no! Like, dude, no. Like, if you're playing the game and you're playing the character, you're casting and you're mainly doing spells in your damage set form, which is your damage set, right? I'm not going to be switching in the middle of enemies to teleport out and then cast and then switch back. When I switch here, I'm more vulnerable than I am with here. It makes no sense to do so. So I always make sure I have sufficient cast rate in my damaging form, which is my War Strikes and Dream, okay? So anything excess from there, with this, like I have my CTA, I still have enough cast rate. That's fine. I'm happy with 37 minimum. I would prefer that. If I go for a memory shield staff, I can add 33 on. I can meet my 63% breakpoint, so we'll get that when we cover gear. You can tell I goddamn love this build so much. So, skills. Now, with skills, this has changed slightly, but with what I've opted for is the following. So, 1.1 is down here to get 15 into enchant. Now, I'm still a little bit undecided depending on how you build your gear and choose your mercenary, but you need sufficient attack rating. I found that this is okay. It sets me up comfortably. I don't like having 15 here per se, but it does work, and I don't feel like I need to sacrifice too much to do so. Now, I'm not putting excess into warmth because I don't care about fire damage. This is flat for attack rating. Moving on. Lightning spells is your main source, okay? Now, static sealed is maxed out. We have 1.1 down into thunderstorm, so we can also benefit from the excess points in that synergy. So we've got 3,000 on there per shot, so it's worth tacking on, right boys? Now, telekinesis is 19, energy shield is 20, so I guess we can respec there and max out that as well. That would be slightly better. Cold spells, we just got 1 into frozen armor, and last time I respec'd, I ended up taking out the Frost Nova because I deal so much fucking damage that I don't need to worry about slowing down enemies that are close to me. Easy as that. Now, I'll show my mercenary first. My mercenary I've opted for is Blessed Aim. So, Blessed Aim increases my attack rating as well, so increases my chance to pierce and to successfully hit with my War Strikes. That's important. That's also why I have that in conjunction with minimum enchant to get everything that I need, okay? Now, Andariel's, we have +2 on there, which amps up the Blessed Aim. That's important. Fortitude for him, and our Infinity, which is just a must with strong, heavy, elemental focus builds like this, okay? My gear. Let's get into it, boys. So I've got my Ethereal War Strikes. I should have a second pair. Yes, I do. I have a second pair of Ethereal War Strikes. I would recommend 2. It's a lot easier. You don't need Ethereal if you're building this, boys. But if you have 2, you're fine. That's enough to switch back and forth to replace them. Oh, and look at that. I do have 3. So 208, 217, and 234. Okay? The rest of the gear is the following. We've got a Dream and a Great Helm. This is not min-maxed for the highest defense. I don't really care. I chose what stuff I would like in some bases where I have the room to do so, because this build, well, this game really doesn't really have transmog, does it, boys? No. So that's decent. On the shield, I prefer a Tower Shield. I like the block rate. That is it. I really like the block rate. I prefer that. You get flat defense from Dream on the Rune Word as a flat by itself, so I feel like that gives you the freedom to choose a little bit more on what kind of shields you'd like. The downside of it is my run and walk speed is slow, so remember that if you guys are doing it, you're sacrificing your run and walk speed for a little bit more block rate, so that's on you. Now, this amulet here, I crafted on stream. If you look back through, I have a highlight of this on my channel, actually. I don't have many individual highlight videos, so this kind of blew my socks off a bit. Hear me out. It's not the craziest amulet ever, but for what I'm after for my build, it ticks fucking everything. You've got 2 Sorc skills, 19 FCR is brilliant. We need minimum 17 FCR on the amulet, because that is going to give us 37. So that's why I was super excited, because with this, 10 FCR in one ring, as you can see here with mana and poison, and another with 10 FCR in mana and res, that puts us over that breakpoint of 37 without sacrificing any other pieces of gear. That is perfect. Dexterity is so helpful for attack rating with our throw. It is amazing. Also for our block rate, I couldn't have asked for a better modifier. We also don't have mana steal, so having a little bit of that helps a long way now that we have a good attack rating in Pierce. So it's just a little cherry on top, and it's one of the most trophy items I have, actually, and it's so cool having an experience like that and finding like Tyrael's Might or whatever, you know. So moving on with the gear, I have this, another trophy piece. So I ended up finding a Nova Wind Struck plate. Now, one of my very first videos I have on my channel, if you guys remember, is my Frozen Or Barbarian with that blue plate on him with that plate mail, which looks so sick. And I wanted to find one on here because not only does it look awesome, but it has that Nova modifier, which is increased by the synergy with maxing out static field, because that works in conjunction with War Strikes, okay? 25% chance to level 9 Nova on striking. So that is just a little cherry on top as well. The facets that I opted for here was more flat damage and less minus res. That was what I could afford. I'm not sure if I could get perfect ones from now. I honestly don't care, because this is a trophy character. I don't really play this. Moving on. Sandstorm Trekkies, boys. It's just a beautiful lock-in because hit recovery, vitality is so important, as well as poison res. That is it. Like, that is really all you need here if you're ticking off everything else. I showed my rings before, FCR mana and poison res, and then I have my death set. Oh, I love my death set. This is probably one of the best use cases of this that I've ever found, and I'm in love with it, how early you can farm this in normal cows. You can set farm it within like 200 magic find. You can farm Cow King on normal, and you can get these pieces, okay? So I've upgraded them both. Poison resist, poison length reduced by 75, 30 increase attack speed to cap out our attack throw at 2.27 APS, if I remember that correct. We've got 8 life steal on hit between those two, and cannot be frozen, and all res 15. So everything on there is helpful. Moving on, we've got Annihilus with 1914 torch. We've got attack rating, magic find, life and mana, life and res, and we've got a few lightning skillers, nothing crazy, and then a 72. Okay. On Switch, I have this beautiful 664 3 Engie Shield Ethereal Rune Staff. Yes, I did roll this in the cube and I found it, so that's another trophy item of mine. And before we get into some gameplay, I want to show a little bit of excess gear that I do have. So, we've got ways of buffing up our enchant even further. We have alternates for our dreams. If I want to switch these out, I can do so. That's absolutely fine. I've got passion, so I can switch over to zeal if I feel like playing that. Mage Fist, which are upped in perfect ED, so I can play with those. Fortitude and a Bone Weave as an excess. I've got a few different rings, so depending if I change out my death set or not, there's a few different ways we can go about doing it, you know? Mage Fist, I've got a rack, so I can bump up my FCR further. I've got another 10 FCR with more attack rating, which is helpful, and Raven Frost adds a lot to that. I've got these very nice boots with tri-res, poison length reduction, and Nova Wind Struck, which is nice, but I don't use them too often because the run speed is lacking. So if these had 30, then I would probably have these locked in. Now, I do have this cute little Ist Phase Blade. Now, I have this sometimes when I'm farming around normal because my Pulse aura from Dual Dreams is so crazy on its own that Magic Find allows us to farm quite easily, and we don't need to throw as much. Another one is our Heart of the Oak, so we can just get a few more plus skills, and if we're just focusing on static and maybe do some Nova in there, then that's absolutely fine. So let's get into some gameplay, boys. Hey? I'm going to go straight into Chaos Sanctuary. I haven't been here in a while. I haven't played this in a while, but I really want to show it. I do feel like doing another Throw Sorceress playthrough sometime, so that would be very nice. Okay, we're going to buff this up. We'll do Enchant on him. We'll do Thunderstorm. We'll do Frozen Armor. There's so many to pre-buff here. We'll switch, and then that's good to go. So I don't really have anything on right-click. Maybe I'll put, I don't know. Let's put Static, I guess. So, 56. Very nice. Now the range for our static just reaches like off screen. It's really beautiful. Oh, I forgot to do my energy shield. Bloody hell. There we go. No wonder I'm taking damage. No, Decrepify makes me look so bad. There we go. That's the right throw speed that we want to be sitting at. Let's change that back to static. There we go, boys. So you can't really see the little knives too much, but goddamn, like each one of those is doing so much damage. Static can reach across the whole screen. Our pulse damages are doing a whole lot. We'll just go through. You may be wondering, why the fuck am I using static if I'm just making a throw build? Isn't that kind of pointless? But it all ties in, boys. Okay? You've got pulse, which has a massive radius. You've got static. You start with that, and then you finish off the elite packs with your single target throw without risking diving into close range. That's the idea of the throw sorceress. Okay? So making a zeal sorceress is quite different because you need to have a lot more strict focus on survivability and energy shield because you're really getting in there, you know? And because of the lack of AoE with just the throwing knife by itself, it makes it a little bit hard just to only use that when you need. I mean, if you can utilize static, then go for it, right? What do we get? Eyes and hearts, that's exciting. I would like to make another video in the future, maybe, with the throw sorceress and just go through a little bit in depth and change the player count and show a few different things on how to build it, you know? Because I think this is something that I would like to show more, and that it has a bit more depth as a build in terms of if you want to choose to build it a different way, you can. It doesn't have to be locked to exactly what I do. Looking at one of the old variants I had with Twitch throw and maximizing block rate, that works absolutely fine, you know? Here we go. 54k, we'll get rid of that low res. Come on, big boy. I'm only gonna throw against him. I'm not gonna use anything else. Oh, he's moving. Stop moving. Okay, there we go. Such a good, cute little build, boys. And once you have everything kitted up, you can switch out and play with Zeal if you want to, and nothing else changes, okay? I'm going to put that on, okay? I'm going to put static over here. I'm going to go to frigid, and all we're doing is changing one weapon. That is it. Typically, you might want a bit more resistances and survivability as you're going through, but let's do it, boys. My attack speed is a little bit slower because you do need a bit more to reach those higher frames, but I think I can probably do it. Grand Matron bow, that's kind of cute.